The rain hadn't let up for hours, drumming steadily on the windshield as Daniel Carter sat in his old, rusted-out sedan outside a towering office building. He adjusted his tie in the rearview mirror, the fabric frayed at the edges. It had once been his father's. His hands trembled slightly, not from the cold, but from the weight of everything riding on this interview. In the back seat, his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, slept peacefully, her small frame bundled in a faded pink coat with a missing button. She clutched a threadbare stuffed elephant, its ears long since chewed up by time and love. Daniel reached back and gently brushed a curl from her forehead before stepping out into the downpour. Inside the interview room. The room was sterile and polished, like a world far removed from Daniel's. Across the desk sat Meredith Hargrove, mid-40s, composed, sharp-eyed, and executive chic in every sense of the word. She glanced at his resume, then at his suit, a second-hand one that fit awkwardly, and offered a tight smile. "So, Mr. Carter," she began, "you left your last position 2 years ago. Care to explain the gap?" Daniel hesitated. He could lie. He could make something up. But that wasn't who he was. "My wife passed," he said, voice barely above a whisper. "Cancer. I left everything to take care of my daughter. She was 3. Meredith blinked. She nodded but didn't respond. The room felt colder suddenly. The rest of the interview was a blur of technical questions and awkward silences. Daniel knew he had fumbled it, his answers weren't sharp, his nerves betrayed him. After 30 minutes, Meredith closed her notebook. "Thank you, Mr. Carter. We'll be in touch." It was the kind of polite dismissal he'd heard too many times before. Back in the parking lot. Daniel opened the car door and slid in, rain soaking his shoulders. He looked at Lily, now awake and rubbing her eyes. "Did you get the job, Daddy?" she asked, voice hopeful. He smiled weakly and shook his head. "Not this one, sweetie. But maybe next time." Just then, a knock on the window startled him. Meredith. Holding a large umbrella and a look on her face he hadn't seen during the interview, softness, maybe even regret. Daniel rolled the window down. "Mr. Carter." "Daniel," she said, glancing at Lily. "May I speak with you?" He stepped out again, into the rain, confused. Meredith took a breath. "I need to tell you something," she said. "I judged you too quickly. I saw the worn suit, the gaps in your resume, and I made assumptions." Daniel opened his mouth to respond, but she held up her hand. "You weren't the most polished candidate, but I saw something I've missed in others. Integrity. Sacrifice. A man who chose love over ambition. That matters. A lot more than I let on." He stared at her, unsure what this meant. "We have an opening in our community outreach department. It's not glamorous, but it involves helping families. I think you'd be a perfect fit, if you're still interested." Daniel's eyes welled with tears. For a moment, he couldn't speak. Then he nodded, words caught in his throat. 3 months later. Daniel sat behind his new desk in the modest outreach office. Lily now attended a small daycare just down the block. His mornings began with laughter, not worry, and he came home each night not just with a paycheck, but with purpose. One day, Meredith stopped by his office, handing him a file of new applicants for a volunteer program. As she turned to leave, she paused. "You know," she said, smiling, "you didn't fail that interview. You just took a different route to the right job." Daniel looked at the photo on his desk, him and Lily at the zoo, both grinning ear to ear, and smiled. Sometimes, failure is just the beginning of something better. And sometimes, all it takes is one person seeing your worth when you feel invisible. In a world that rewards polish and speed, never underestimate the quiet power of love, truth, and resilience. Because behind every worn suit, there's often a heart that's been tested, and kept beating anyway.